Hi, this is Brian from iWire, and we're going to show you how to install one of our pigtailed connectors. So when you order a pigtail kit from us, you can also order it with the crimps. They're really easy to use, so we highly recommend when you order pigtail from us that you utilize them. We also are now offering a basic strip, crimp, and cutting tool that you can also purchase to make it really easy. I'll actually go through the process of swapping out this connector with our pigtail. You probably want to take a quick picture of the pin order just to be sure. We'll pigtail in the same color, but sometimes they get a little distorted, or every once in a while something happens. So just be sure to make a note of pin order. So the next step is to peel the jacket a little bit here. Box cutter works, scissors work, small cutters would all be fine. Just because you're not really that concerned about nicking the wire, but if you're not sure exactly where you're gonna splice in, be careful. So we're gonna peel this back. I think we can use this. Just do it this way. Okay, and then I'm gonna go one by one, just in case there was two wire colors that were the same, or I wasn't 100% sure on the color. Sometimes these also fade. So it's, you guys gotta be really careful and just take your time. So I'm gonna cut the first one. There are two different labels. One says solid and one says stranded. Solid would be like house wire, which is single core. Stranded is what we're gonna see because there's a bunch of smaller strands that make up the larger gauge wire. So in this case, I've got a 20 gauge. So I'm gonna strip it about the length there, but then I'm gonna confirm the length by sliding on the connector. See how that's sticking out too far in here? I just want maybe a fingernail's length or a little bit more, but also where I can see it come out of the opening on the other side. So I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna remeasure it. Now I have something that's good. I can see it in the window and I can see it on the back end. Now when I crimp it, I'm gonna use the insulated slot here because we have an insulated terminal. I'm gonna push down using the table, and then I'm gonna test it by pulling on it. If it doesn't come free, then we're good to go. On the other side, I'm gonna match it up. So in this case, I'm gonna cut this wire. Sometimes at this point, to get them to come out nicely, if you are measuring it, I usually give it just a little extra because that'll give you some slack when you're putting it back in. And then I'll cut them all to the same length so that I get a nice even fit. And I'm gonna take my first one, the red wire to the red wire, strip it down. Now I know approximately how long it needs to be. Double check when you strip it that you don't bite any of these wires out. If you look close, you would see them broken off right where the jacket ends. That means you haven't stripped it cleanly or you're using too small of a size. Next step, insert, got a good length, and then crimp it. And then I'll heat them up one by one. It's hard to heat them all at the same time. So you can tell that this is fully heat shrunk because it's clear. There's no foggy bubbles in there. And a little bit of the glue shrink that's underneath is popping out on each end. The thing about this is that you probably should just buy a heat gun. You'll find that there are more uses than you think. They're usually about $30 from Home Depot, and any basic one will work. I'm measuring the other ones. Since I want to go one by one, I'm going to use that middle point from the other one to try to get as close to the right length as possible. So that's a little longer than middle, but I can cut just a little out and then strip from there. The other thing to note when you're heating it is you want to start in the middle and work your way out. That way when you heat it up, you're pushing the air out. That way you don't get stuck with a bubble in the middle. If you were to accidentally strip a little too much, that's okay. This is all glue shrink inside, so it would cover the jacket. So as long as you're close, it's not a problem. And when I'm crimping these, I'm splitting the difference. I'll show you after I crimp it. I'm splitting the difference between the very middle and the outer edge. So it's inside the red line. You don't want to be crimping on the red line or outside. You won't get a tight crimp. You want to get right in the middle. See how that one's a little bit long? That's okay. You'll still get covered by the glue shrink. Sanity check ourselves. Make sure our pin order is still correct. Red, black, orange. Looks good, lock is in. The last step, just grab some basic electrical tape and make it look pretty. I like to do, when I'm wrapping something like this, 50% overlap. So for each roll, half of it is covered and half of it is on a fresh part. And then the last one, I'll wrap it twice just to make sure it's nice and adhered, and you're done. Now that we finished the pigtail, if you have any questions, let us know. And if you're looking for the tools or pigtails, check out our website.